Top chat. Give me the live chat. Much chat. Okay, give me yes. You right? The live chat. Yeah. All right. Okay. Time to pull out my notes if I had any. Yeah, this stream is going to be somewhat hectic for reasons of connection being questionable today. I have no goddamn idea if I'll even be capable of, going through the entire stream without it getting cut 5 different pieces because of connection. Or I have no idea how the stream will go otherwise because of the fact that I have very little planned. But regardless of all that, I'll do my best, and that's what matters really. So let's talk about the plan. Today's plan. Let's go. Today's, is that how you write today? Today's plan. Okay. Step 1. We don't need that was Step 1. Commit the old changes. Commit the existing changes. All right, that's step 1. Then we have ourselves a step 2. Oh, wait, let me pull out the music. I've got the music. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Step 2 is to review the changes since last week. Review the changes. And then step 3, if we get there, hopefully we will, is to draw, I guess, concept. Figure out. Okay, like figure out. Let's figure out the right word here. Make the architecture. Design the architecture. Design arcane architecture. Do I even know how to write that word? I think I do. So I'm not 100% sure on that. All right, so where is my highlighter? Is that my highlighter? Yes. Okay. So we're gonna start. Yeah, we're gonna start here. Maybe that's too big. Yeah, let's go like that. We're gonna start here because it's step 1. Why am I saying that? Okay, so the fun part is here, right? We want to try out. We want to see how to go about creating arcanes. But before we get there, we have to fix a bunch of stuff. Like, look at this. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. Oh, you can't see it actually. If I move this guy all the way to the other side. Okay, here. You can see stuff here. All these changes here have to go to this upper section. They are currently in changes. They have to go to stage, and then I have to commit it. And only after I've done all of that, I actually don't like this. Okay, there we go. And only after I've put all these inside stage and then I've documented all of that, can I actually start developing arcanes, which I'll give you a little sneak peek just in case, right after this thing compiles. Because the general concept and the general idea for arcanes is not hard. All it takes is to add a new mod slot right here. And actually, I would like to add 2, like one for Exilus, one for arcanes. But for now, let's just start with 1. Just adding 1 slot here, which only visually looks different from mod, but otherwise is actually just a mod. Because I don't know if you know this, but arcanes are just mods. Yep, arcanes are and mods are the same thing. They have similar stats. They do the exact same thing. They're basically the same thing as a complex mod. So, yeah. back to our steps. So for now, we will start with this guy. Once you have this guy down, then we'll go for this guy. So just so you know where we are overall in the development process. And you know the changes. All right, let me put that back. Grab my keyboard. There we go. And actually, let me grab a drink too. Okay. So, a really notorious bug that I had to fix was the weapon list not loading. That was absolutely terrifying because I had absolutely no idea how it was even going, how it was even happening, how it was even possible. To give you a general idea, how do I? Oh, I'm in pen mode. The thing is, when you have a bug, right? I said I'm gonna use the keyboard. When you have a bug, when somebody says, "Oh, here's a bug," you'll be like, "Okay, first of all, how do I recreate it?" They're gonna say, "Oh, okay, you just have to run the program, go to the second panel, and it'll drop an error." And you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that." You run it, go to the panel, and nothing happens. And you're like, "Okay, how is that even possible? How did that happen?" Then you go and ask them, "Okay, I went and did this, but it didn't happen. Could you try on another computer?" And they say, "Okay, I'll go do that." And they do that, and they get the same error. And you're like, "Okay, what do I do? What can I do?" And then if when it was only one person, I was like, "Okay, it's still only one person. It's theoretically possible, even though that they made the second attempt is kind of suspicious. But theoretically speaking, it is possible for two different computers to have a bug which you cannot replicate." So I go, okay, it's one guy, it's not that big of a deal. And then a few months later, you get a second guy, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then a sixth, and then the seventh. You're like, how? How is this happening? Then what I decided to do is, since I actually don't know if it is here's the thing. If I could connect a debugger to their build, like at runtime, it would be super easy. But that would need me to be capable of replicating the error. But I cannot do that. The error just doesn't happen on my machine and does not happen on any other machine that I'm trying. So what should I do? Well, there is the good old-fashioned way, which would be basically do this. Instead of like having a debugger connected to the build, you just do this. You go here, you create a new function to just log error, and then you go here and put logging messages for every single variable you can. I actually removed them right before stream, but they were here. They started here. I would say, okay, log this, and then this, and then this, and then this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Every single change that happened on screen here, I would log all of it. Whoops. But they just changed. There we go. My God, where do I even put the VC face? No matter where I put it, it blocks something. Let's just put it here for now. And I'll move it around if need be. So I had variables everywhere. Like here, 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 every single line of this file, all the way to here, which was where the bug was. Actually, it was crit chance, now which I think about it. It was actually like, where's crit chance? It was here. It was here. So what I did is, first I was like, okay, maybe it's a mistake in reading the database. So I went ahead and changed the database. As you can see here, I changed the database a little bit. What I did is I just changed the position. Like, it's the database is basically .cs. It's a .csv file. It's rows after rows after rows of data. What I noticed is when I went and checked every single cell here, one of them was empty, like empty, like nothing, not even a space in it, empty. So I was like, okay, maybe what I need to do is move this thing up and then this thing down. And maybe because of this empty space, it's actually understanding the length of the table incorrectly. So I did that, and that didn't fix it. But it did change the error, and that was really funny to me, because why would that change the error? I mean, it's the same database. Before it was in crit chance, but now it was at the very first cell. It was an impact. Yeah, I was like, why did that change it? And what do you know? It was right here in impact. And the reason for it was this bad boy right here. Let me pull that up. Where's primary? Did I stage this guy? I did. If I scroll down. Oh. Yeah, I actually staged this guy, I think. I think you can't see this now. Oh, there we go, you can. You see these? Do you see these changes here? It says float.parse, but now it says invariant float parse. The reason that this was happening is this. In some regions, when you write, say, 2.7, you write it with a dot. But in some other places, you write it with 2,7. This is not how I write it, and this is not how database has written it. But the reason that it was breaking is that this float.parse function, is actually region specific. It actually understands this difference. But since my database is written in my region, but then I have it the build is run in a different region, this float.parse is expecting a comma here in a float variable, but it's a dot, so it says, okay, error. I cannot run this. Doesn't work. So all I really had to do, which was not easy to figure out, but eventually I did it, was do this. Where's my extensions? I went to the extensions, write a new method, which is basically a different version of the same thing. Float.parse, and then right here I pass out invariant culture, which means this data is pre-written. It's not going to be used at runtime. It's not going to be changed. Okay, I see you there, Nan. The Ghost Ninja, I see you. Yeah, you really should be sleeping, honestly. Why are you even awake at this hour? I don't think your sleep schedule is anywhere near good enough. You should fix that. Oh my god. Okay. So I wrote this and then changed all the instances, all the references to float.parse with invariant float parse. However, I didn't change all of them. I only changed the ones that were referencing something that existed in the database, because at runtime, when the user starts writing, you know they're going to use their own style. They're not going to write 2.7. They're going to write 2,7 because that's how they do it in their region. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Let's get back to the boring part, which is right here. We shall work on this bad boy right here, which is to commit all the changes. It's a bit boring, I admit, but we cannot proceed without doing this. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions, because this is the part where I can actually answer them the easiest. Yep, that's good. I think all these changes in this region are just the invariant float parse. Yep, there we go. Nothing revolutionary here. What are these? We should probably remove those. Let me remove them actually. Max spread, min spread, and average spread. Oh, actually, This might be useful in my dreams, as this comment says. Yeah, you probably should keep that. Yeah, we're gonna keep it. Oh yeah. Oh, it updated that because it had the same float.parse in it. That's good. That's good. Go down. What do we have here? More of the same. Usually I would go through these one by one, but these are all just a refactor, just a name change, honestly. Just the reference changing. Anything different here? Anything funky going on? Nope. All the way at the bottom. Temporary bug fixing log. That's the only one that really matters. So I'll stage that and then just stage all. There we go. Next up, my notes. I haven't even read notes in so long. Let me actually see. What do I even have in my notes? Where is my note? Note script. Consider using a fire-rate reliant timescale instead of... Yeah, that's not a bad idea in theory. Make this scroll rect inactive. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I tried doing that once. It was really annoying. Make a new weapon generator. Yes, keep dreaming. At some point, I did a question mark, but that's basically a tutorial. In case of Riven development, as if that's going to happen. And these are just remember changes. Okay, nothing important here. I think the only thing that really changed here is I removed some unnecessary references. Yep. Doesn't need a reference to Unity Engine because this is never going to be run. This is just a note. There we go. What else? Then self-destruct. Why did I change self-destruct? Oh, I just fixed some empty spaces. Improved formatting. You wouldn't believe it, but formatting is important. Like, you wouldn't think that, oh, if you have one extra enter here, or rather one extra line here, that's going to matter. But it does. It really does. It does. Okay, next. Warning v3 prefab. This is just a new prefab. We'll just press next on this bad boy. This is part of the new warning system I made. I'll talk about this in step 2. We'll get back to that guy. Scale correctors. Why did they change scale correctors? Scale corrector. These guys that change the scale are the reason that the UI actually doesn't look garbage when you change the screen resolution. Because when the aspect ratio is different, you need to keep account of that and update the UI. Extensions. What do I have in extension? System globalization. Why would I need that? Can I remove that? Where are my extensions? Extensions. Where are you? Extensions. There we go. It says I'm using system.globalization. Why? What am I using it in? This guy is the reason I'm using it. If I remove it, will that line just throw an error? Whoops, wrong line. It does. Can't I just say system.globalization. Yeah, that's better. I don't want to import an entire thing for that one line. So yeah, let's not import anything. Importing stuff makes your code slower, baby. So it is convenient, I'll give you that much. Okay, remove the old references. That's already in there. Invariant float parse. I did add that in here, right? Let's see. Updated all database related. I don't. Did I add it? Okay, I can't search in there, so let's search in here. Invariant. There an okay, I misspelled it. Invariant. No invariant. How about float? Any references to float? Oh, here. Update all database related blah, and which is mentioned in extensions. Okay, I did do that. So no need to rewrite that. Okay, stage that change. Okay, next up, mod manager. What did they even change in mod manager? Oh, only 2 changes. Okay, stage all. These are just removing old references to improve performance. Next up, panel options. Oh, why does panel options have a reference to game manager now? Oh yeah, I think I have not written that, so I'll write that. Added reset all. Set all. Where did my typing speed go? Added reset all player prefs to panel options. I'll also show this to you in a second. So after I did all the commits, this is a tiny change, but this allows you to reset every day all the data that you have not the data, all the preferences that you have stored in the program. It will basically reset it to a brand new one. It won't remove like the data that you've saved, like the build you've saved or result you've saved, but it will reset all the UI preferences and stuff like that, and the warnings, most importantly. What did I change here? Why is there a line here? Move that line. There we go. This is Test Results Manager. This is the guy that shows you the results. Oh yeah, I remember this. Did I add this here? I don't think I did. Let's write that down. What this does is it changes the save button. How would I document this correctly? Let's see. It changes this button right here to be green when you save a result. Made it so the save button changes, the save results button changes color when you save a result, when a result is saved, because you can actually go to another result and then come back and it still be green, but it will be white, or rather the default color, when you go back. Is that all I changed here? Oh yeah, and added a new warning v3. Why is my spelling so bad on screen? Added a new warning v3 all? Added a new warning v3 when saving the results. Yes, there we go. That should be all the changes here. Stage all, a weapon drop down script. Okay, that's just removing unused references. Stage all, old results, unused references. Yep, there we go. Weapon stat printer, I'm pretty sure it's also the same. Yep, just removing unused references. Stage all. And game manager, this is probably the only one that has rather... What the heck is this? What is this? I don't need this. Where's my game manager? Where are you, game manager? Okay, there you are. I'm removing all the unused references and you're adding new ones. There we go, I removed them. The reason that one appeared without me knowing is that if you start writing something that requires a namespace that's not in your current namespace, Visual Studio will actually just add it by itself. So yeah, there we go. I did remove that guy. Let's save. There we go. And this is the last one. This is the last step in the step 1 of the plan of action here. We'll go to the next one. Okay, we removed that. That's also part of the existing item here. Removed some unused references. Stage that. This is where I added the new warning system. Yep, I have already documented the new warning system, which is, I think it's right here. Create a new warning system named warning v3, which with its own UI prefab and new class and game manager. Yeah, all that. You can read that. You probably can't read it. That's probably too small. Okay. Anything out of the ordinary? No, everything looks good. Oh, what's this? Spawn next warning v3, which is unused. Okay, let me remove that. I just replaced that with next warning v3. Any formatting issues? Let's see. Are there any formatting issues? None that I can see. Looks good to me. All right, stage all. And with that, we've staged everything. Yes, save. All right, that should be the good starting point that I wanted. How many minutes has it been? 25 minutes since I started the stream. Not bad, not bad. We got that done. That had to be done. All right, it's time to commit. But before we commit, we actually have to, what do you call it? We have to actually double check, because you never know when you missed something. Okay, now we're technically in step 2 here. So let us start this. We are going to review the changes. The way we're going to do that is probably through the commit history. I could pull up Discord. I have all these changes documented in my Discord. Who cares? Did I do it? Did I do it? Should I pull up all the changes on Discord? Okay, let's do it. Okay, while that's loading, it's gonna take a minute. Grab a drink again. There we go. Did it load? All right, if we go here, if we go to programming channel, there we go. Okay, what have I added in the last week? I remember last stream, the thing that I was doing was fixing database. I did that the next day, I believe. No, not the next day. 2 days after it, I think. Probably. So I went ahead and tested every single thing. Okay, actually it starts here. I wrote a new script to be capable of more accurately and more quickly testing all the scaling for the health and the base stats as well. Then I went ahead and did all that for every single enemy inside of my enemy database. I think this guy, no, that's not the guy. Enemy stats. There we go. I went ahead and looked through every single one of these boys at different levels, like multiple levels for each one, and also checked the base level. You may or may not know this, but if an enemy is at their base level, let me actually pull this up. If an enemy is at, let's say, base level, oops, how about this? Let's say the base level for that enemy is, for example, 4. If you spawn a level 1 variant of that enemy, it will have, for example, let's say the HP and, why am I doing that? HP and shield. Let's say it has 100 HP and 50 shield. And with base level of 4, if you just spawn that guy at level 1, it will have 100 HP and 50 shield. Then if you spawn a level 2 of the same guy, it will have, get this, the same numbers because it's below the base level. Only when you spawn a base level plus 1 will the stats change. So when you spawn some guy at level, the same guy at level 5, then the stats will probably be something like 103 and 51. You see? So the higher the base level is, the higher the base level is. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see. The higher the base level is, the less scaling that enemy will have. At least in the early game. It won't matter that much in late game. Can I remove a section of this? No, I cannot. It won't matter much in the late game because the difference between base level minus, or actually the other way around. Can I move something? Can I move like this object? I select this object and then move it. Whoops. Okay. The difference between level minus base level will be so great that it won't matter that if it's like -2 or -4. But when your levels that you're talking about are like 30s or like 40s or like 100 even, this matters. Base level really does matter. But when you go past like 150, it stops mattering at all. It doesn't really matter at like 150. Oh my god. Wait a second. What just happened? Is the stream dead? Why does it say no data for a second? I saw it saying no data. I do see we have some dropped frames, but it does seem to be working. Is it working? I have no idea. It says excellent connection now, but for a second it did say no data. which panicked me for a second because I'm not always looking at the stream info constantly. If you're watching this like at a later date and you're watching the stream, allow me to give you a sneak peek on how that actually works in game. Like not in game, in my code. But it's basically the same thing, honestly. If I show you right here, you see, it says level health multiplier, right? And it says enemy level, and then it says base level. So here's the fun part. Level difference compared to the base level is how you scale stuff. You see all these scaling? They all use level difference. And then we have a level curve, which uses both base level and enemy level. Let me show you how that works. Where is it? Here it is. And even that works based off of a difference to the base level. It doesn't use the level itself. It uses enemy level minus base level and then a minus 70 because that's the place that this happens. You know how in Warframe the scaling looks a little something like this. It's like this is the scaling, this is level, and this is the like percentage, like multiplier. How it works is a little something like this. It goes like this, and then it goes like this, roughly speaking, and it has like something like this, a normalizer to interpret between these two. And this level is exactly, not that one, this one right here. I guess I kind of exaggerated, but right here, this is 70 minus base. And right here, exactly here, is 80 minus base. So if your base level is, if your base is 8, it will start reducing the scaling, like the increase per level for the stats at level 78, and it will fully be in that phase at level 88. So yeah, it does matter quite a bit where this is. So yeah, and this is base level. Because anything below base level, you have the exact same stats as you would have at base level. So a level, as I said, I'm gonna repeating myself at this point, a level 1 guy and then a level 2 guy and a level 5 guy, when the base level 4, only 1 and 2 are gonna be the same, and only 5 and 2 are gonna be different. All the way up to 4, it's the exact same stats. And in the game, it doesn't spawn these guys at these levels. Even if it spawns them, it'll spawn them at base level. But if you go in Simulacrum, you can actually spawn guys below base level, but they will have the same stats as base level. All right, what was I doing? Yeah, I wanted to show you this. Oh yeah, wait, why does it say game manager change? So let's stage that bad boy. There we go. Okay, with all these bad boys staged, it's time to test. Oh yeah, I wanted to test. Let's go to game. Don't mind the broken update. It says beta version 88. Update me. I put that there because I keep forgetting to change it. There we go. Okay, let me pull up the changes. Yeah, I updated the database. I showed you that. Where was it? Yep, all these bad boys, they've all been changed. Almost all of them. It's ridiculous how many of these were actually wrong. I fixed all the ones that were wrong, and specifically MOA was even incorrect in the wiki, let alone my database. The base levels were also incorrect, and quite a few of them. Oh, I also changed. Here's the funny bit. I fixed the ramp up. If you remember the last stream, or maybe the stream before that, I had a little something in enemy script. Where is my enemy script? Enemy script? Where are you? Enemy. Yep, there we go. Inside of enemy script, in the old days, I had something here called Epic Droid, Mr. Nexus. Please do not call my stream ASMR. I do not like ASMR. Don't. Okay. I had a little something here called is first hit or something like that. Yeah, is first hit. And the problem with that was that, let me illustrate it for you. I'm really leveling up my illustration skills here. Oops, touched the camera. Not the camera, I touched the microphone. The enemies, which are cubes here, just because it's calming background audio does not mean it's ASMR. Don't. Just please stop. I had a little something like this. Is first hit would be called when the first gun, which roughly looks like this, fired at this guy. It would update a bunch of stuff, including the beam weapons. Can I scroll here with this? No, I cannot. Including right here, which it says set up beam multipliers event. The ramp up. It would do like plus ramp up. Plus ramp up plus crit slash. 100 munitions. Bro, Nexus, come on. Don't distract me. I'm trying to illustrate here. What was I even talking about? I forgot. Oh yeah, crit slash. Crit slash. Let's just say plus 100 Mumu. We can all sit down, have a nice talk. No, I don't like ASMR because I don't like it. There's no need to explore that. That's perfectly fine the way it is. And plus impact slash, which is internal bleedings, I believe. Well, when I say plus, I don't mean that the mods themselves. I mean the effects, the events that call them. Internal bleedings. There we go. I had these set up on his first hit, but that was fine and all. That worked. That was perfectly fine. That had my check mark of approval until I developed a little something called 50% skip. What 50% skip did is like this. Let's say we have a bunch of enemies. Like, call it, summarize it. Let's say we have 16 enemies. 50% skip hits this guy until he reaches 50% of health. And then goes to the next guy. Hits it until that 50% skip goes to the next guy. Generally speaking, that's fine. if you didn't even know what ASMR was standing for, which I don't either, then you should probably stop telling people something is ASMR. After it went all of these guys, at the end, it would go back. It would go back to the first guy. And here's the problem. Beam weapons have ramp up. Ramp up is on his first hit. When we first shot this guy, we called his first hit. But now we're going back. Since we're going back, that ramp up has to be called again. But because his first hit has already been completed, see the problem here? See the problem? The easy solution would be to simply have it so when you go all the way around and come back, this would be like plus reset. Reset first hit. But what the heck is happening with my writing? That is a really non-scalable solution. So I opted out for a better one, which was a more procedural, more, how they put this, more correct way to do it. So I created a new class, or I guess I didn't create a new class. I went inside of the damage package args, which are the arguments you need when you're calling the damage code, and just added a new one, which is new target, and is new target, which is the same thing, which is, this is the reset of it. And every time Mr. Gun over here decides to shoot something new, actually, that sentence is completely incorrect. Gun does not even know when something new is being hit. Active spawner. Mr. Active Spawner has a section somewhere. Let me find it. New target. Current document. Here. When we set up weapon targets, which happens when you change the targets, like when this happens right here, when you go to the next guy, this is the thing that does that. So here I added a is new target, which means when we pass along the arguments, where's my gun? Okay, this is my gun. Where are my arguments? Right here. Set up take damage package args. Right here, we set up is new target and then set it to false right after. And then when we go to the enemy will know that this is indeed a new target and it will set up beam events again. The same goes for crit slash and such. And I checked these guys, they work fine right now. But just to illustrate my point in a more cerebral fashion, probably not the correct word to say it, in a more visual fashion, let's go with Glaxion. Am I using the limited weapons right now? Yeah, it looks like it. Are these the limited weapons? Yep, these are the limited weapons. Let me grab all weapons. Where's my stat reader? Use limited weapons, disable that. Funny note, if you were to break my build, the like MinMaxer build, and you were to update your like RAM before the game runs, and you just check this, like disable this, it would let you have all the weapons. It's just that they wouldn't work because not all of them are correct right now. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. Let me remove a layer. Okay. Grab Glaxion. Yeah. What time is it? 42 minutes. In like 5 minutes, I'll probably take like a 10-minute break or something. It's funny how effective the concept of a 10-minute break actually is, because I really don't use it that often. I mean, I should, but I don't. So we have our little Glaxion here. If we go to a corpus tech, let's hit like 2 enemies and let the test level be like 25 is fine. Repeat count 1 is fine. Body shot is fine. Time scale, that's too high. Set that to 10. And damage display and skip enemies. Okay, and for mods, just set up a bunch more damage. And let's actually give it in beam multipliers as well, but make it exactly 2. There we go. Alright. Right here, we can see the first hit on the first guy is 75. If we go down, it scales up to 481. Okay, this guy dies before we even finish the ramp up. Let's half the damage. Oops. Okay. 38. The maximum is 112, as you can see. When we reach 112, it does not go any higher. Well, technically, it's not the number, it's the time. It's 0.5 plus 0.6. It's at 1.1. Right here, the reason this is so small, by the way, is shield breaking. When the shield breaks for a short time, it has a massive multiplier. Like when I say massive, I mean massively small. It's this one, let me show you. And if we go inside of enemy and we go to shield gate multiplier lowest value, this guy, 0.05%. Like when you have like a high fire rate weapon, you would think that shield gate does not affect you, and you would be right in part. But when they added this delay, it kind of reduced it. It's still far more effective than semi, but it's still not as good as you would think, because when you get shield gate for a very short duration, do I have the duration here? Where is duration? Well, I guess one way to figure out, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's here somewhere. I've developed it myself, I just don't remember the exact number. For a set duration, let's call it X. For the X duration, like this is the timeline, if this is 100% damage and this is time, normally you do 100% damage. But when you hit shield gate multiplier, that first hit will have the shield gate multiplier. But regardless of what that is, after that, for a set time, you're only dealing 5%. Well, I guess I should just write it. 5% of damage for a set time. This time is X, and then it goes all the way back. So in this duration, which is like a second or something like that, it's probably a second. It's probably not 2 seconds. It could even be half a second. I don't remember what it was. I did figure it out with a really high fire rate weapon, but I don't remember it right now. It's in the code. If I looked, I would find it. So yeah, this chasm right here is the reason that high fire rate weapons don't get to, since they hit like that, they will have some hits which are in this chasm, so they actually get affected by shield gate. Because slow weapons, they hit once every second, for example, they would be devastated. I mean, it's technically true, they are devastated by shield gate. But just to balance it out a tiny bit, they added this little chasm here to have those damage numbers reduced for a short time, just so the shield gate isn't completely a joke on them. But to be honest, this duration is not that long. As you can see here, when the fire rate is 12, we only have one hit. So yeah, wait, does that mean the duration is 1/12 a second or something like that? 1/6 of a second? Is that correct? Actually, you made me doubt myself. Let me check this. Lowest value. It should be somewhere. Where are we? We're in the gas stick. Let's go back side of the main code. Okay. No, that's electricity. Let's just grab the shield gate multiplier itself. Okay, that's the when active. Right here. Instead of take damage package, it's for 0.1 second actually. Wow, that's a lot less than I thought. I thought it would be like half a second, but no, it's actually 0.5 seconds. Was it 0.5? 0.1 seconds. I keep forgetting. 0.1 seconds. Wow, that's so small. Why do that? Why is it so small? Are automatic weapons just being favored here? I mean, don't get me wrong, they are weaker, like as a human usage, they are weaker. Technically, they're much stronger, but when a human uses them, the reaction time is a joke. Reaction time is a joke. What's the hotkey for this? E? D. Okay. Human reaction time is a joke. For that reason, why is that not a reason? It. There we go. Okay, since our reaction time is so low, they probably wanted to like give auto weapons a buff, or a buff in disguise rather. So yeah, auto weapons are definitely getting the better end of the deal compared to semi weapons. Nowadays, semi weapons are actually auto weapons, but the second you make a semi weapon an auto weapon, we are auto fire. I write like that. Auto fire. The second you do that, you'll have all the problems and negatives of this guy. So yeah, they do have their downsides, they do have their upsides, and this just happens to be one of their upsides because 0.1 seconds is so tiny. When semi weapons lose somewhere upwards of half a second on this, for example, our lovely Corinth, with its fire rate of like, I don't know, it's like 2 or something, that you lose a lot more damage compared to this guy. Why even bother at that point, honestly? Why bother making this? It is a thing, but why? Why is it a thing? Just don't bother. Okay. What were we checking? What were we checking? I remember doing something. Oh yeah, we were checking the ramp up mechanic, which I fixed. As you can see, the maximum is 112. The second enemy we shoot, there are only 2 enemies in this test. So this guy started with 38, this guy started with 38 as well. It goes all the way up to 112. And then this guy's half dead, the first guy is half dead. We go back to the first guy and look at that, 63. Eh? Why is it 63? Why is it not? Oh yeah, the reason it's 63 is this. The ramp up decay. Because here's how the ramp up works. The way the ramp up works for beam weapons, a little bit something like, oops. It's a little bit something like this. If this is 100% damage, it starts low, it goes up, and then it stays up. When you stop firing, it stays up for another duration, and then it goes down, but much slower. Much slower. Much slower all the way to the low point. This is not 0, by the way. This is not 0, this is 22%. It's actually like this. My razor. There we go. Let's actually move this bad boy. It's way too close to the other stuff. And that guy too. There we go. Is hand H? Yes. Okay. When you stop firing, this happens. Very slow descent. And thus, what happens if you start firing again? Well, what happens is this. It ramps back up with the same speed as this. It ramps back up all the way to 100%. So the reason that this guy didn't hit a 38 was that exact thing. Because it's at time 3.9. We only stopped shooting that guy at time 1.7. Not enough time has passed for this to go all the way here. It's actually just here, and it's gonna ramp back up now. Which is what happens. It starts at 63. And it ramps all the way back to 112. And the next guy, we started even earlier, I believe, on that guy, yeah. Yeah, we started even earlier because it's not even 60. What was it? Was it 68? 63. It's not even 63. It's 74. And we ramp back up to 112. With the old code, because of his first hit, which is right here, because of his first hit, we were not, in fact, getting that secondary effect. We were not getting this secondary ramp up. But now we are. That works because we're not using his first hit. We're instead using the hand tool. There we go. Using something called why am I explaining this again? I already showed you. If you're watching this in the chronological order? What's the word for that? Chronicle order? Whatever. If you're watching this from start to finish, you've already seen that. Why am I repeating myself? Okay, so that's the reason I created the ramp up stuff. Where's my Discord? There we go. So that's what this is about. That's where math comes into play. Yeah, next up, I fixed multi-shot count. As you can see, it says right here, it says multi-shot 1. If I go back, add multi-shot, vigilante armaments, and split chamber. Let's actually make it galvanized chamber in this. You see, it says multi-shot 2, multi-shot 2, multi-shot 3. Before I'd added these bad boys, you would be like, oh, this is not a crit, and then it's 99. The next one is not a crit, it's 185. But then it goes down. How does it go down? Yeah, the reason was that the multi-shot random. It says these are multi-shot 2s, this is multi-shot 3. Yeah. That confused the heck out of me when I was trying to test the beam weapons, and I was like, oh, that's why. Okay, next up. Yeah, in-game fire rate for weapons. Oh, this was a funny one. Now you see, burst weapons, let's say Kuva Hind, the burst one. You know how I talked about in the past that its fire rate isn't 5? Wait, you can't see that. One sec. There we go. I should probably make some presets for left and right here. Yeah. The fire rate for this guy isn't 5. It's actually 9.8 if you simplify it. I've already talked about simplification of fire rate in the past, so I'll skip that much. But just know that in-game it says fire rate of 5. And here's the fun part. If you find a weapon where in-game it says like a fire, let's for example, I think Badicor is like that. Is it? Badicor. Normal fire. You see here, original FR 2.5. Oh, actually 2.5 is not low enough for it to get the bonus actually. But hypothetically speaking, if this was 2, this original FR was 2, and the true FR was like 5, you would still get the benefit of internal bleedings. You see how internal bleeding is at 0.35 instead of like 70%? If I grab a weapon with a slower one, this slow enough? No, this is not slow enough apparently. Oh, this thing has the same stats as this is the same weapon. It has the same stats, of course. Does Exceltra, is Exceltra slow enough? Absolutely not. How about Corinth? Oh, Corinth is the wrong weapon type. How about Cernos? Oh yeah, Cernos is also one. Okay, right here, Cernos. If you have the original fire rate low enough, internal bleedings will give you 70% chance for creating a slash proc when you hit an impact, which is awesome. But those burst weapons have incorrect, or rather abnormal, UI fire rate stats, as I said. And for that reason, if we have a weapon that has the in-game fire rate low enough, but actual fire rate higher, the game would get that impact slash, but my code wouldn't. So I created a whole new system for passing along the original fire rate when need be. This is also, I didn't know this at the time, but bows, like say Lens, right? Lens is a bow. It has a charge time of 1.2. But if I was to add fire rate to it, it would reduce it to 0.55. If I was to add another fire rate to it, right here. You see how it says fire charge time is 0.43? And the original FR down here says 2.8. Turns out bows, back in the day, I thought that bows, when we're talking about impact slash, firstly, you should know that imp slash weapons, impact slash weapons, give you 70% when you have FR under 2.5, not even exactly 2.5, under 2.5, but they only give you 35% if FR is higher or equal to 0.5. So, what about bows? Because bows fire rate is 0, or rather that's what the UI would lead you to believe, because when you open the UI and you look for fire rate, it's not there. Well, you can't see that. Whoops. There you go. Bows don't have fire rate stats. So what do we do? Well, turns out they actually do. So bows have an innate fire rate. FR for almost all bows is innately 1. It's exactly 1. I thought it would scale off of, say, for example, charge time. So if you do the math for charge time to be equivalent to an FR of 2.5, it would be charge time of exactly 0.4. Because if you have a charge time of exactly 0.4 seconds, effectively your EFR, or the effective fire rate, is 2.5. So if your charge time is higher than 0.4, which means your EFR is lower than 2.5, I thought you would get the 70% situation. And if you have your charge time lower than 0.4, which means your FR is higher than 2.5, you would get the 35% situation. Turns out that's not the case. And the way to prove that is none other than Lens. Because if you look right here, it says Lens, charge time 0.43, which means the charge time is indeed higher. So it should get this one right here, the 70%, but it doesn't. I actually have proof of that. Let me bring that up. Bring up Unity. Where's my damage calculator? Note archive. Impact slash for bows. I went ahead and did hits and checked if they are getting the impact slash or not. I did a DIQ. Right, it's written like that. I did a DIQ with 60% fire rate bonus, and it was getting the impact slash bonus. I did IQ with 90% FR bonus, and it wasn't getting it because, you know, the impact zones are more. If you do like 5 or 10, you'll eventually reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure that it's over 70 or under 30. But when I gave Lens a 90% FR bonus, like right here, which is corrupt the fire rate, which is 90%. Oops, there we go. Corrupt the fire rate. Charge time is 0.43, but if you go by what Wiki says, you'd be thinking original FR is 2.8 because, you know, if the base is 1 and you multiply that by, here's the funny bit, we say 0.9, but it's not actually 0.9 because for both the fire rate is times 2. So it's 0.9 times 2, which means this is 1.8. Well, it's not actually like that. It's actually another parentheses here. It's plus 1 right here because, you know, if it was just 0.9, it would actually reduce it. So yeah, it's not plus 1 because when you give a bonus, that's bonus plus base. So at 1.8, this will make it 2.8, which would mean the total fire rate would be 2.8 for the fire rate value, not for the charge time, just for the fire rate. But as we checked, original FR 2.8, but charge time 0.43. So this would be the litmus test, basically. This would allow you to test, is it higher? Is it lower? Is Wiki right? Is my existing misconception of the, or rather my existing theory of how it works correct? I tested and you can see just impacts are way more than impact slash, which means it's the lower, which means this is higher than what it should be, which means you will not get the bonus. And as you can see, if I put impact to slash right here, impact to slash is 35%. So yeah, now you know. My voice is killing me. Okay. Before we continue with the pen mode, before we continue with the plan for step 2, I think I'm going to take a break. So yeah, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Everything good? Chat good? Yep, all is good. Alright, so what was I even doing? I have no idea what I was doing. What was I doing? Look at this bad. So many different things going on here. Woo. Is there a way to zoom out? And there isn't. There, even though there probably is. There is, right? There is a zoom function. Oh yeah, control. Yeah. Okay, so reviewing the changes. Yeah, I talked about the original FR. What else did I have to talk about? Blah blah blah. Bunch of junk. Oh yeah, these are related. This is just a commit for the ramp up mechanic. Oh yeah, this the new warning system. Somebody, to be exact, this person, their name is cut because of streamer mode. They recommended they gave some feedback, which let me pull that up right here. They gave this feedback. You can read that if you want. I'm not gonna bother. Which basically boils down to when you save results, enable this and this. Come on. Why are you so slow? Oh, because it's lens. Let's go to Corinth Prime. No, just Corinth base version. Let's load. Wait, no? Maybe it's Corinth Prime. Corinth Prime. Maybe Corinth Prime has. There we go. And let's set this to. Go. Instantly finished. Of course it is. Remove a bunch of mods. Make this like test all. Do that again. There we go. So you see their feedback was when you press the save button right here, nothing happens. You have no way to know if it actually saved or not. So I fixed that. Not only will you have a little green, you see the little green right here? Yeah, that's because of the saving. You also have this message telling you exactly where to look for it. Results saved to MinMaxer's dream _ data in the folder database, and then inside the folder saved results. And if you don't want to see this every time, you just can disable it. I'm really proud of this one, by the way. I thought my new, because I was so rusty in the UI, I haven't worked in UI for a long time now, for well over a year actually, because I was sick back in the day, you know? So I didn't know if I was going to be capable of making any even half decent UI prefab for this, but I did it, and hey, it worked. It looks good. I like it. I'm kind of proud of it, honestly. I thought it would take longer, but it only took like, I don't know, 2-3 hours maybe less than that even. But yeah, if you disable this, it won't show up, and then you can press OK. Here's the fun part. If you look at another result, if you go to old results, see, it's not green anymore because it's not saved. You go back to the other one, boom, it's been saved. If you press this again, nothing happens. Because why? Why nothing happens? Well, obviously, because you've already saved it. Haha. Good job, me. And this is even, it is going to perfectly work too if you just press results here as well. No bugs to be found there. Is that all? I also changed the name of some files. Allow me to demonstrate. In the olden days of 2 days ago, if you went to saved results and you looked at the, let me actually open Chrome Explorer. There we go. If you went to that place, which is the database to the saved results, and inside the primary, I think you wouldn't get the primary folder in runtime, but you will get it in editing time, or rather I will. Let's bad boys large icons. Okay, you would get Corinth PNG, and then you'd get another Corinth PNG if you saved multiple. You'd get multiple Corinth PNG files, but you wouldn't get multiple text files. So I renamed this to Corinth Prime _ all, so you know that it's all of them. Does this actually need updating? It has the mods. It doesn't need to be super specific with the data. It's good enough. I don't think this needs updating right now. The main stats are the elements and the crits and such. If you have like impact slash and other stuff like that, you would want them, but generally it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. This is what really matters anyway. Oh, though you would want. Oh, okay. I should probably add this to my list of things to do. Update the text version of saved result. But it's not a priority. I'll put it. I'll put it here, right here. Yeah. Update the text version of. There we go. We should probably have it in a way that allows for, at the minimum, most stats that you need, because if we go back here, below base damage, there are multiple other stats that are actually important. For example, if you're using Amprex specifically, all the new stuff basically, they all have some kind of stat in here. This, for example, if it's disabled in this test, we wouldn't know if it's disabled. If we're in a link chain test, we wouldn't know if it's a link chain test. So yeah, this should probably be updated to include those bad boys. Wait, maybe it does already. Does it? Let's test that theory. Have I made this in a way that can easily scale without me having to do something? Where is my file? Right there we go. Is the test variables fine? 100. Let's make that bad boy headshot. 1 repeat count is fine. Test level, let's make that 100. Will it work? Will it save? Let's save. Okay. Let me pull that up. Amprex. All. Headshot, normal attack. Oh, link chain. It does say link chain. Interesting. It does have the type of test in here. Yeah, it does. In here in the image, you can see it. Well, I guess the image would help you. Oh yeah, it does have these stats. How does it have these stats though? How do you have these? I don't remember doing any of this. Where are you, test results manager? Test results. This is saved to disk, and this is the saved text file. Right above, around where base damage is, it has those stuff. But how? How does it have them? Makes no sense to me. Says to save to text. Stats to print. Stats to print. Stats to print is just a get list modded print list. What does that do? What the heck is this? Oh, wait a second. That's kind of genius. Oh, gee, that's kind of genius. How did I think of that? I didn't even consider that possible, but apparently I did. Okay, so apparently this doesn't have its own stats, but rather it simply uses whatever stat printer gives it. And when I update stat printer, it'll automatically update this bad boy, which means I'm an absolute moron for thinking I need to update that. It's perfectly doable, perfectly fine as it is. Wow. The old me is kind of genius. That's big brain. Okay. I think that's all for the changes, right? What does this guy say? Yeah, that's my own message. Why does my own message consider a new notification? Programming. There we go. And yeah, that was the last thing. So we have officially. Okay, let me give myself the big thumbs up there. What color should I use? Boom. That guy's done. Actually make it big. Done on that. We have reviewed the changes. So what we have to do is design arcane architecture. We probably won't have time for developing it yet, but the architecture itself is the majority of the work. Or rather, even if it's not the majority of the work, it is quite important. Give me the hand tool. Okay, there's enough space here. All right. So since arcanes are literally just mods, oops. When you add arcanes right here, arcanes are basically just mods. So you'll need somewhere to store that information. Let me close Discord. Oh, I cannot do that with my pen. Get this. Close these. You can open them any. All right. So the things we need is this guy, PL draw, and this guy. All right. Yeah, I got that organ. All right. Since arcanes are basically just mods, the first thing we need is, well, somewhere to store all those data. So we'll have a little section here called arcane data, which will be a JSON file. Of course it will be. It's really easy to work with. And all the other mods are JSON files as well. Then we'll need to read all that data. So who's responsible for reading mod data? Well, it's some guy called mod stat reader. This little guy. There we go. F12 on that. All right, mod stat reader is the one that does all the reading, which means we'll have to create a section for it to read the mod stats. Okay, write that down. Then we'll send this to mod stat reader. All right. So after we have the stats, okay, we have these bad boys. Let's say it's like this one, primary mod list. It'll be something identical to this. It's a, oh yeah, we'll have to make a new class and stuff, but that's in the minutia of it. It doesn't really matter too much. Once we have all the mod stats, we'll also add it to all mods. And then we need to use that data. Not only do we need to use that data, we also need some way to, like, when we're here, how do you go to the arcanes? Well, that's a good question. How would you go to the arcanes? In Warframe, what you do is you click on that bad boy, and it opens the arcane section. So I think it would do something similar, but I think we can actually improve upon the design compared to how Warframe does it by adding a little section right here. No, I mean, that's really a place to choose. Maybe just above it. Now that would take a lot of empty space right here. Maybe to the side, on top of this, or maybe not on top of it, but like a little section. So let's brainstorm. So we're gonna write the actual data here and the UI elements here. So the UI looks like this. We have this section to the right, we have this here, and the mods here. So I'm thinking, what if we had a little something here that was like mods, like icons specific? Would it be icons? How do I even make an icon for a mod? That's a good question. That's future me's problem. And then you have a little one, which is arcanes. And then we could have another one for Exilis. And then yet another one for Aura. And the other stuff when in the future when we have melee. I think that would work. That would be quite nice, actually. And in addition to all that, we could have a section like where we have the 8 mods here, and then we will have arcanes here and Exilis here. So if you were to click on this guy, it would automatically open the mods. If you were to click on the arcane, it will automatically open the arcanes. And if you were to click on the Exilis, it will automatically open Exilis. Auto opening. Auto open tabs. Wow, that's terrible writing, but we'll forgive that for now. Auto open tabs. That's a good feature to add, yes. Alright, that's not a bad way to do it. It does give me the headache of figuring out how to relay the concept of a mod and an icon, like dear god. But arcanes are not that hard. They have like this little symbol. Looks like something like this, roughly speaking. So that would be doable. And Exiles, I think Exiles have an icon too. It's like something like this. Maybe, I'm not actually sure. Or just God save us, but we'll figure something out in that regard. So we'll need, since that's a mod, we'll just need to update the mod class. And here we have to say plus update mod class. Update mod class. If we add a new variable, which is like is arcane. Would be like mod dot is arcane. That's not a really scalable way of doing it. So how about instead of mod is arcane, we do this. Mod dash type. Yeah, let's actually write that a different way. So we have the mod class of the class mod, then we have all the variables in it, and then here we have mod type. If you're confused as to why I wrote that twice, I'll explain that right away. So right here we'll need to implement a new enum type. So we would say, and enum is a really easy thing to explain. I'll explain that as well. So we'd have a new, maybe actually I should write it on that side. Yeah, I'll write it right here. So we'd have a new enum, and I'll name it mod type. Then this enum would have like a bunch of different types. One of them would be like normal mod, like we'll just name it normal mod. Then we'd have another one be arcanes. And then we'd have another one like Exilis. Then we'd have another one, Aura. A enum is basically a box that can hold only these bad boys. Only these 4 values can be inside of this box. And the way it works internally is just it gives them just a number 1, 2, 3 and such. And this will only accept these numbers. And by using this, connecting it to the name we gave it, it knows, okay, it's that one. If you try giving it something else, it will, if you like give it something else, it will drop an error. So it cannot be anything other than these. It can't even be none. Or maybe it can. That's beside the point. It cannot be something else. So it really makes it easy to figure out where something went wrong, because it won't even let you do that. before the mistake ever happens. So here, we just store this. Oops. Let's store this as arcane. Different color. Use this one. Equals arcanes. Technically to do mod type dot arcane, but we'll forgive that for now. Okay, so now we know how we'll store the arcane data. But how do we access it? Oh yeah, I know how to do that. We have the little guy here called Mod Manager. Let me use the mouse. Yeah. You have this little guy called Mod Manager, and he is responsible for generating the mods themselves. Is at the bottom here, generate mods. We could make a new one called Arcane Manager, but I think that would be redundant because arcanes are technically just mods, so we could just the same responsibility. So inside of Mod Manager, how much space do we have at the bottom? We do have enough. Yeah. After this, we would go to our big boy Mod Manager. And Mod Manager will ask for the data from here. So we need to draw a line from here to there, dear God. Oops. We'll go from, whoops. Not used to these hotkeys. I usually have R as my default drawing tool, but it's D here. Okay, we send the data, my God, arcane data. The arcane data makes it to Mod Manager, which will then generate the mods. My God, there we go. It will generate arcanes. By generate, I mean arcane UI. Wait, note. UI. All right, that's cool. That's cool. But we'll also need a new. Will we need a new UI script to handle getting clicked on these bad boys? I think we. Here's the thing. I would rather reuse the old, or I say the old, the existing mod options if I go for mod slot, for example. But these are such a nightmare. Like, dear God, I wrote these so bad that I'm honestly embarrassed by how bad they are. I could make a new mod slot, a new mod drag and drop, or just call it a new mod with a new mod element. Because the mistake I made here is quite horrendous. I could have written this so much easier, but I made it so hard on myself because I didn't know any better, honestly. I'm not sure. Should I redo this? And then maybe down the line, if I feel like it, I could refactor this old code, use the new stuff. Honestly, I probably should. As long as it correctly interacts with Mod Manager, it would be fine to use any. Is that right? Let me look at generate mods. How does that work? Okay, destroy existing mods. Okay, then it gets all fire mod tags and then instantiate mod drag and drops. And here, what it doesn't actually. It does have a reference. I could make. Do I? I mean, I could just write an if statement here, or maybe just add a new line at the end of that. Where'd I go? I lost generate mods. Oh, there it is. Like, if we have arcanes, which we always have arcanes, so I could just at the end of this have a new line right after this that updated the arcanes for, like, with the generate arcanes, for example. I think I'm gonna do it. I really don't want to deal with this. Like, oh my god, this is so bad. We have on drop, and then we have on begin drag, and then we have another one. I think we have one more on drop or something like that. Oh yeah, we have two of them, I think. Where is it? I remember there being two. On begin drag, start drag, on end drag, on pointer click. Blah, blah, blah. I actually don't even want to read this. It's so bad. I'm cringing by just seeing this garbage. Yeah, we're gonna redo that. Let's add that to the list. Arcane UI here. We will add to this bad boy a new UI script. We'll call it. We shall call it. What shall we call it? New UI script. For now, we'll just call it Arcane script. Arcane script, and we will make a new Arcane mod slot. Arcane mod slot. If we're really big boy about it, we could also make a base script, which would be base. It would be mod element. Let's go base mod element. Base mod script. Why is this so bad? Base mod script, which then this guy inherits, and as well as a base mod slot script. I guess that the word script is kind of redundant at the end here. So it would be base mod and base mod slot. Inherit. I'm gonna write it this way. Inherit. Yes. So these guys will inherit those, which will make it super easy for us to layer down the line, do other stuff like Exilus. Wow, my writing is garbage. Exilus or Aura. Stance. Why am I saying it's Aura? It's Stance, it's not Aura. But yeah, in the future, we could do those much more easily because we have bases for these bad boys. They're not just arcane scripts. Yeah, I actually did not know how inheritance worked back in the day. All right. So once we have the arcane script and the arcane mod script, this guy will generate the mod manager will generate arcanes for us. And these bad boys will basically be an entire thing. And once these guys are clicked, arcane mods, oh, this is slot. On click or drag, they both call the same thing, is equip. Which then will call mod manager. All right? Yeah. Hey, look at this. So much stuff here. All right, so I zoom like a tiny bit instead of like a whole bunch. That doesn't work with the pen. Zoom to fit, zoom to selection. Oh, zoom to selection. Yeah, that's a good one. Select mode. Select these bad boys, and what's the hotkey for it? View. Zoom selection is shift 2, so shift 2. There we go. All right, I think that's the basic architecture of it. Is there anything else we've missed? So we'll have the data in the JSON file. That checks out. We send the data to mod manager, which will generate the arcanes, which have two scripts, which is base mod for the arcane script, and then base mod slot for the arcane mod slot, which then we can later use. These guys have an on click and on drag. Oh, right. What? We need one more thing. After, where's, forgot, and doesn't work. There. Use zoom to 100%. And mode. There we go. Once this guy calls the equip, and then we need to actually use the data, because thus far we've just gotten which arcanes are equipped and put it in mod manager. But that's not all we want to do. We want it to actually apply to stuff. So if we go to fire mode updater, fire mode updater, go. Fire mode updater. This is the guy that updates all the stats for a weapon. Okay, update fire modes. Yeah, right about here, just before simple mod calculation and just before cumulative mod. Inside of fire mode up there, mod manager needs to call, or rather, instead of mod manager calling fire mode up there will call mod manager. Okay. So our big boy is fire mode up there. Fire mode. My settings might need changing. It's a bit slow to write at this, because if I go fast, kind of wobbles it out. Then fire mode up there will ask for the data. How do I draw that? Yeah, I guess we'll just draw a line for now. I'll send the data here, which then will be used inside of update fire modes. All right. And once update fire mode gets the data, it will add them to cumulative mod. And that's it. I think so, yeah. If we grab, what's the hotkey for the select? V. Yeah. But yeah, let's see. Start at the JSON file. We send it to the mod manager, which will have the arcane data. It will generate the arcanes, which we'll need to write custom UI scripts for them because the old ones are terrible. Then we'll have the on click and on drag event, then the equip event method, equip method or function. We'll send the data to mod manager, and then when fire mode up there needs that data, it will grab them from mod manager and then send them to update fire mode inside of cumulative mod. And that's our UI elements. We'll probably make that bad boy a bit bigger. Oh. And that's how the UI will work. Is that all? Is that all we have to do? I mean, sure, it looks a tiny amount of work on paper or when I'm drawing. Oh shit, you cannot see everything. Okay. There we go. Now you can see everything. I have not been paying attention to that bad boy. Yes. Ah, I can use control scroll to make this bigger and smaller. I didn't know that. Okay. It may be a bit small, but you should be capable of seeing it at this scale. So yeah, that is it. That's the general architecture of it. If I do this, you can see it better. But yeah, let's forget about that. That's it. 1 hour, 15 minutes into the stream, and I think we're done. Think about it, the last place that we'll need that data is in here. when the update fire modes has it. If we add it to cumulative mods, we'll also need to update. I remembered. We'll also need to update print weapon stat printer. But is there a hotkey for zoom to 100%? Yes, Shift 0. Wow, they're humongous. Either one or two smaller. Well, much later down the line, much later, this data, blah 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 blah, Shift 0. This data much down the line, it will have the, let's just say, weapon stats. And my settings need changing. So these weapon stats will be used for weapon stat printer. Yeah. Wow. Why is there so much lag in this? I should probably do something. Weapon stat printer will print the data to the UI. Oh my god. Oh no. Power went out here. You're still seeing this, but let's just call it a day at this point. Because without power, I'll lose everything momentarily. So let's call it a day for now. Bye bye. I'll see you next time.